Thank you very much. So I didn't finish this thing until the middle of last night. I actually woke up, and because I hadn't finished it, I think I had a bunch of ideas going through. And if I hadn't have woken up at 2 a.m., it wouldn't have been done. So it all came true. So today we're going to talk about the two types of people. Yes, there are only two. It's really that easy. Here they are. I actually would be hard-pressed to find anyone in this room who has zero inbox. It is nuts these days. People send you an email every 2 seconds. There's a couple more other types of people as well. I genuinely have no preference, but some people are willing to go to war for against the wall or away from the wall. This is a shout out to my girlfriend because I'm over here on the left and she's over here on the right waking me up every morning, every 5 seconds with the alarm going off in the morning. And there's also these two types of people as well. It seems that Christmas time is getting sooner and sooner every single year, so hopefully we have no Grinches in the room. Christmas is a wonderful time. But really, there are only two types of people in my eyes, and they are yes people and no people. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I looked at my parents. I think that's what it was. I'm fine. I'm good. So no people are pretty easy to find in the world. I'm sure we all know a no person. The definition that I looked up was really, really funny. Disguised as a mild-mannered, normal person, the no person fights a never-ending battle for futility, hopelessness, and despair. But I added that at least they are honest, because there is some beauty in no people in some way, shape, or form. I made up these silly question and answers. Do you want to go to a baseball game? No, I don't want to go to a baseball game. Lame. Not like very much fun. Are you interested in learning something new, traveling, creating, exploring? No, I'm too busy. This is a big part of no people's lives. They will make excuses, but they'll bluntly make them. I am too busy. No. Good. Walk away. Conversation's done. Easy to deal with, at least. But they are often really, really difficult to work with, right? They hamper movement and progress. So we all know the no peoples. This is my big point in case, is there's actually two different types of yes people. And so this whole postulation came about when I moved to Hawaii, and which I will get to briefly. But I just kept meeting these people who said over and over, yes and. And there were still people who said yes but as well, but I didn't ever make the connection that there was this distinction until I went to Hawaii and I surrounded myself with all these people who were yes and people. Before we go on, we'll talk about some of the yes but people. So do you want to go to the baseball game? Yes, but only if we leave early. Are you interested in learning something new? Yes, this is often the case, but I'm afraid of failing, getting lost, people not liking me. Again, it's a little bit more of the yes or no person side of things where they will make excuses. So yes, people may miss all the good things in life by only focusing on what's wrong, right? I'm afraid, I want people to like me, so then it's not going to happen. They will also acknowledge that maintaining the status quo is forced upon them, and there's nothing they can do about it. So I actually did some research about yes but people, and they're the people who say yes but really mean no. There's actually a lot of really cool, interesting things out there for the academics in here. Dr. Rebecca Bailey, wherever she is, anyone else who's published an academic paper in here will be proud that I did my academic scholarly research. So in 1964, this guy named Eric Berne made a book, Games People Play. They were psychological human relationship games. And he actually has this game called Why Don't You Yes But? So the whole point of the game, it is kind of interesting reading this description here, the whole game is to work your way out of any situation. So the example that they gave me was a coach and a client trying to lose weight, right? So the client says, I need to lose weight and control my diabetes. The coach basically just says, cool, we can do something here. I'm assuming you have a physician following your health indicators and someone is giving you diet advice. So yes, I have a physician, but he does not give me any advice. Cool. So it's a game. You have to, as the client, consistently defend why you aren't doing anything about your situation. A strange game, I don't know. But, so the coach says, did you ask him for any of the advice? Yes, but maybe he could refer you to a dietitian. Yes, but he doesn't know any. It goes on, it literally goes on. This is just a brief part. Well, the coach says, I could refer you to some colleagues. Yes, but I don't have the money to hire them. No problem, there's free resources out there with diets and everything. Yes, but I've read all these diets. You know people like this, right? You've definitely, yeah, I've tried all those. No. Okay, so let's focus on strength and conditioning. Yes, but you should know that I tried other gyms and it doesn't work for me. Okay, then it goes on. It went on. It was like, have you heard about kettlebells? Yes, I have heard about kettlebells, but they hurt my wrists. Well, I could teach you how to use them properly. Yes, but I went to a class to learn how to swing the kettlebell, and I still hurt my wrist. I was like, holy cow. So the point is, the game is always won by the person who's in the client position. Always. They can always find another excuse, and it is. But the big point is that they win by losing. There is no solution in the end game, which is really sad. And again, I'm sure we all know yes, but people in our lives. And now we move on to the yes and people, the movers and shakers. So again, I postulated this when I moved to Hawaii and made some friends of mine. Oh, it's the next slide. So here's the quick examples again. Do you want to go to a baseball game? Yes. And afterwards, we can get ice cream. Who doesn't love ice cream? Who doesn't love baseball? Are you interested in learning something new, traveling, creating, or exploring? Yes, and I'm ready to start today. Right, so they're very action-oriented, all of this stuff. They're collaborators, innovators, supporters, fighters. Open to the possibilities of the world. So, this is me. This is early 2021 when I became really good friends with Colin and David on the left and right. Patrick now lives in Hawaii as well. He didn't at the time. He was just visiting. And Gentry is over there as well. This is David's roommate. This is on top of 1,034 steps. It's called Cocoa Head. Colin can do it in about 12 minutes. I can do it in about 15 and a half. David can do it they're faster than I am. Anyway, my life really changed when I moved to Hawaii because it was mainly Colin's doing. Hey, let's wake up tomorrow and do Cocoa Head for sunrise. Sunrise in Hawaii is generally pretty early. If you want to do it for sunrise, we probably have to wake up at 4:30 and get there by 5. Sun will rise around 5:30. So after we do Cocoa Head, why don't we go rock climbing? Yes, after we go do Cocoa Head, we'll go rock climbing. And yes, we might as well go swim with sharks afterwards. And we might as well stop off and do some cliff jumping as well. Why not? We might as well go for a surf too. Oahu has plenty of good surfs. We might as well buy a boat as well, and then learn how to sail the boat, by the way. We bought the boat not knowing how to sail the boat. My dad came to visit, and he was learning how to sail the boat as well. We've made plenty of good stories learning how to sail that boat. But again, it was just one of those, what's next? The and just kept connecting it. Let's do this and this and this. This is the little boat down here, one of my favorite spots to sail around. And you can actually sail the boat over to this little beach over here in camp, which is really secluded and beautiful. And let's go free diving as well. Holy cow, there's all these new activities, and I love being outside and in the ocean. And let's go, this was in 2021, after 3 months of really knowing any of these people. Let's go on a surf trip up down the northern coast of California, and let's bring all our wetsuits and cram our 7 people into this RV and go along the coast, and got to go cold water surfing. Let's learn how to fire spin as well on the trip. I'd never done this as well. And let's make a band and see how that goes. And it's been going pretty good. And this little game, if you guys have never seen it, it's called Spike Ball. Again, this is all in 2021. None of these were my recent adventures, but this was a religion for us. It really was. But we would often do 3 or 4 of these things every single day. It was deep COVID times as well, so often times we weren't even allowed on the beaches in Oahu. It was actually illegal. But Colin especially has taught me a lot, and all these guys who I've traveled with kind of all over the world. Just that yes and personality. Everyone that I was surrounded with just was inspirational in their own right. Colin is an amazing professional photographer, shot for many brands along the way. Frank is also an amazing photographer. One of the guys I own the boat with is a professional skydiver and base jumper, one of the most dangerous things in the world. But there's just this energy that I was surrounded with, and I absolutely fell in love with it. That is not to say that it's the right way, though. It made it sound like you guys should just do everything that I should do, because it's pretty awesome. And maybe you should, and that is really my point here today, is it's actually more about balance than it is being one or the other. This is a picture of me in 2018 when I transferred colleges. I went from UC Irvine. I was a medical student there, or a biology student, and then I transferred to University of San Diego to study business. And this is my first ever backpacking trip. I'd gone camping before, but never with everything on my back. And this was our new guide training class, so I wanted to become a guide to take students out to camping trips. And one of the most beautiful exercises that we did on this trip, I think it's called the no-doze style of leadership. So it turns out there's actually 4 types of people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kidding, there's only 2 types of people. So it was this really cool exercise where everyone stood pretty much in a line in the center, and you were given a yes or no question. And based off of that, you either had to step forward or back or left or right. And so everybody ended up scattering a little bit like this, kind of all over the place. I was like that. I literally was all the way over in one corner. And it's really interesting. So the driver and the spontaneous motivator, lots of energy and lots of organization and a little bit of numbers. The complete opposite, notice, of relationship master. And so the reason that we were doing this is basically about when we go out and do camping trips with kids, someone needs to do this job, but oftentimes there's not 4 of these people on the trip. You have to be able to step into these other roles. And that was obvious. So these ones were easier for me to step into, and this one was the most difficult. But when you put yourself on a map anywhere in here, it really shows you where your strengths are, which is a good thing. It's not to say that you shouldn't own your strengths, but it definitely shows where you need to go and work on. And in order to become an effective guide, I really did have to step into a lot of these other roles. And I have had amazing people help me in this journey to get a little closer to the center. And so I want to see a raise of hands in here, actually. Who's ever taken the training quiz online? Cool, there's a couple people. You guys got the results and everything and read them? So we're going to read mine. I made it up pretty much entirely. I don't know. Maybe my mom copied it a little bit. But I basically just stole the no-doze leadership style and made up a bunch of funny questions about, where do you hang your halter in your barn? Or is your barn swept really neat? Or do you get offended when your horse does something like that? It was all just trying to organize people into these categories. And so this one says, this is the direct one because I was the driver, which would have been the direct training style. And so again, you want to own your strengths. So you believe in your ability to create change you want to see in the horse, in the world, right? Kind of like what we're talking about. You can replace horse with life or world. You're goal-oriented, enthusiastic, determined. You make decisions quickly, adapt easily. I wouldn't know if I'm a great hard worker, but I do pick up the slack sometimes. Again, you need to own your strengths because those are natural to you and those are your natural tendencies. But I also added there are some things to consider on the other side of that spectrum. And so to take your time, I often do rush a lot, especially when me and my dad are building anything. Even if it's an IKEA table, I'm going to tell him how to do it because it's going to be faster, and he's going to tell me how to do it because it's actually the right way and it takes less time. I'm learning. And so it's good to have goals, but you don't want to do too much too soon. So slowing down it is often a very difficult thing for me to do because I love to be outside and do all these things. And you can't just consistently do one or the other. So on the other side of things, look for the small things that you could miss over. Oftentimes in my leadership style with taking kids out on camping trips, I would just kind of either disregard or step on other guides' toes during situations. And it didn't lead to necessarily conflict, but at the end of the trip, it was just that program, I can't say enough good things about it. We would sit down and really talk about what happened and how people felt, and it was just really good, open, honest feedback. And as a direct person, at least, you can just completely not even know, because everything went right? Everything was fine. Oh my God, everybody got there on time. Everybody was fed. Blah 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 blah. There's a lot you can look and miss, and so that experience really allowed me and helped me to kind of see the things that I was missing. And so I had definitely started to consider at least a lot more people's feedback. So I then, instead of making a decision, I would obviously turn to my other guides and at least ask them what they thought of my decision. And oftentimes it was right, but that's okay. Sometimes people need the driver kind of needs to steer the bus sometimes. But I made sure that it was okay with everybody else. And before, I didn't do that. Respecting others' journeys. There are a lot of shy people, especially in those settings where we were taking kids outside and kind of giving them the space to not trample all over their toes so that they can come out. But you guys see this with every single person that you've come into contact with. They fall somewhere in that spectrum. So the only reason I said all this is because I wrote both of these things because it is about balance, right? You don't have to be the yes and person, and you don't have to be the yes but person. You realistically do need to be both. So in any decision where you say yes and, inherently you're actually saying no. Every yes decision and every no decision has an inverse and proportionate choice. This is just how the nature of a decision. But what's interesting is when you actually say no but, you actually say yes to a lot of other things, right? Because you leave opportunities open for all of those things that you would have said no to by deciding to go, in my case, go surf. At least for that moment in time. It's not like you're not going to go do the dishes, or you're not going to have the difficult conversations, or you're not going to spend time with your family. But in that moment, you've made a purpose and a decision, which is good. No progress would be made in the world if someone didn't go and make those yes decisions. But oftentimes, if people are making too many yes decisions, then they are giving up on these other situations that they can address. So if you do find yourself making excuses a little bit, then you need to be able to go and say yes and. So the whole point of this talk was trying to find out who you are, if you are a yes and person or a yes but person, and just knowing that you need both of those things in your life, and that each one of those decisions comes with a cost, and it's up to you to figure out where you are and where you need to go. And that's basically it.